Kaijutopia. I'm Tom, and we are living in the kaiju renaissance. There's so much happening in the giant monster sphere, namely the return of the guardian of the universe, the friend of all children, Gamera! Yes! Yes! Just a little excited. The last feature-length Gamera film was in 2006. So yeah, it's been a long time. The Green Machine is back in a new animated series on Netflix called Gamera Rebirth. In this video, I'll be breaking down the first episode, Over Tokyo, and sharing my thoughts on the series as it develops. If you've already seen the series, please be respectful to others by not leaving spoilers in the comments section. It's time to make friends with everyone's favorite giant turtle. Our story begins with an expedition team descending into an ominous cavern. They're told not to disturb the eggs, which is what they do, and they are eaten alive for their troubles. These people stumbled into a Gauss nest, which, as any Gamera fan could tell you, that's a death sentence. That's not a good thing. Hundreds of Gauss ascend, with the Earth now on a silver platter. Next, we're introduced to our protagonists from left to right, Boko, Joe, and Junichi. It's the summer of 1989 in Shinjuku, Japan. These three friends will soon start school, but alas, they won't go to the same one. The boys want to stay in contact because, they're friends, they like each other, so they're saving money to buy the best communication device. I like this subplot because it helps you immediately empathize with the main characters. It's relatable. You want to stay in touch with your friends. Totally get it. As they make their way to their hideout, which is like a pretty cool treehouse, we learn about this moon base. Later, the boys find a turtle trapped in the roots of a tree. They want to help, but there's a shallow swamp in the way. Joe and Junichi walk away believing they can do nothing, but Boko thinks otherwise. In a character establishing moment, Boko puts his life on the line to save this turtle and, nearly drowns for it. You see, Boko is one of the last kids in his grade who doesn't know how to ride a bike, and it looks like he doesn't know how to swim either. Boko is a good kid with a big heart, but has a lot to learn, like knowing your limitations, which is an important life skill. After Joe saves him, the boys do end up rescuing the turtle, and it's adorable and foreshadowing. What happens next is a montage of what the boys do when they're apart. We see them in their personal lives, and not everything is hunky-dory. Boku's mom seems self-centered, self-absorbed, and abusive, verbally chastising the poor kid over minor problems. She even seems to just encourage him to give up on his friends, stop seeing them, and it's not a good thing there, Mom. You should tone it down. Joe is in the kitchen cooking while his father sits in the background watching TV. We see a photo of Joe's family in what could be a shrine dedicated to his late mother. Junichi lives in a big house. His room seems to have everything he could ever want. We don't see his parents, but we do hear them asking if he wants his favorite ice cream. All of this is very interesting, and this gives us really good insights into just how these kids live and, why their friendship is so strong, because their home lives not exactly the best. During this montage, we hear reports about strange happenings occurring in the Philippines and Vietnam. In one news report, the US military is assisting in search and rescue efforts in the Philippines. In another report, the Vietnamese government talks about a village being decimated, with eyewitnesses saying they saw a flock of mysterious flying creatures. Uh-oh. And things seem to escalate as the Gauss prowl the back alleys of Tokyo, devouring any poor soul they find. Meanwhile, the three friends return to the electronics store, having finally saved up to buy their communicator device, or so they thought. They run into a group of American boys led by a guy the locals infamously call Brody. What happens next isn't pretty. So, I wasn't expecting these boys to have potty mouths, but oh my gosh. F-bombs galore. But the American kids, they take their insults to new heights, or more accurately, absolute lows. Kids can be mean, alright? But bigotry, racism, xenophobia, gotta remember that kind of hateful rhetoric is taught. It's essential to understand why these kids act like complete jerks, before we start praying for a monster to eat them. Brody and his gang not only steal Boko and his friends' money, but also beat the ever-loving snot out of them. But my boy Boko is just absolutely bent on getting their money back. And after some talking back and forth, ultimately the friends agree and plot their revenge by making smoke bombs filled with pee and, oh right, flamethrowers. I kid you not! They track Brody down to an arcade. It's there they confront the bullies. Before Boko, Joe, and Junichi can commit murder, a state of emergency is declared. Brody freaks out because he interestingly understands the danger everyone's suddenly in. The Gauss have attacked. U.S. Air Force F-15 Eagles scramble to intercept. The following scenes show T-Rex-sized Gauss running amok, gobbling up civilians. They're crawling up skyscrapers and using their extendable tongues like chameleons to pull people into their hungry, snapping jaws. It's terrifying. The F-15s shoot a few, but they're quickly overwhelmed. Not wanting to give up the city, all aircraft in the area are called in. Meanwhile, something is happening at the United States Air Force Fusa base, where the Eustis Foundation Research Center is stationed. I wonder what they're up to. The JSDF is on standby. It looks like their sole purpose is to repeat what we already know. A squadron of F-15s arrive and quickly make short work of the Gauss. Before America could start playing, a sonic beam slices a skyscraper in half. Suddenly, a pair of paws crushes the F-15s, heralding the arrival of a supersized Gauss. It's awesome. The children watch from a distance as Gauss snipes the F-15s out of the sky. The boys quarrel, not realizing their childish vendettas are about to cost them their lives. It's honestly times like this where you need to make sure you're the fastest in your group. Life advice from Tom here on Kaijutopia. Boko and friends flee to the arcade store from earlier, where two Gauss follow in hungry pursuit. Before the disgusting monsters could eat the children, a blast wave from outside knocks them down. Gamera! Our boy is lean, mean, and a big green fighting machine, and he's still a softie for kids. Look at him. Look at him making sure Boko and his pals are safe. Gamera's back. He eviscerates the swarms of smaller Gauss. One of the Gauss from the arcade survived, however. Boko, Joe, and Junichi save Brody, who's been abandoned by his so-called friends. But the Gauss don't care about heroics and selflessness. It may be falling apart at the seams, but its ravenous hunger compels it to chase the kids down the block to do one thing and one thing only: stuff them kids down its gullet. Gamera notices this and stomps on that Gauss like it's the like button. Does anyone else think CPS should recruit Gamera? The Gauss returns, however, for a kaiju fight! Let me tell you, Gamera vs. Gauss is an exciting, fast-paced brawl that instantly becomes the episode's highlight. It's so intense and visceral, it made the 40-minute episode runtime worth it. I know, these episodes are like 40 minutes, like, wow. Gamera battles are notorious for their violence and brutality. This show doesn't hold back. The animation quality increases to 11 as these two kaiju go to war. Ultimately, Gamera prevails by burning Gauss alive with his fireball. But Gamera's victory is cut short. The United States Air Force can't tell friendly kaiju from foe, so they attack Gamera. Not wanting to cause further damage, however, Gamera flies away. Before our heroes can bond over this tragedy, this kaiju attack, a helicopter lands nearby. A mysterious pair emerges, showing a keen interest in recruiting the young protagonist for a special project. What could this mean, I wonder? Alright, so let's start with what didn't work. There are two scenes between JSDF soldiers talking in a tank. It mainly consisted of them repeating things we, the audience, already knew. This might showcase director Hiroyuki Seishita's sense of humor, as it seems to be played for laughs. Still, to me, it exemplifies my primary issue with the Godzilla anime trilogy, which squandered screen time through repetition. Like, we see something happen, character A describes what we just saw, so we're kind of bored because we already know that. Why are you just repeating what we just saw? And then, oh my Godzilla, another character is now repeating the first character's talking points. Fortunately, Gamera Rebirth, as of right now, makes far better use of its screen time. That being said, these scenes added nothing to the story. If it were up to me, a top G. The G means Gamera. Gamera, right? Does the top G mean Gamera? As a top Gamera YouTuber, I would have replaced these scenes entirely with, a scene probably dedicated to Brody, showing why there's more to him than meets the eye than him just being an obnoxious troll. If he's going to, join the team and become a co-protagonist, you might want to make sure he has some sympathy. And maybe an additional Gauss lurking in Tokyo sequence, as those scenes were legitimately scary. The frame rate seems to be everyone's biggest pet peeve, and while it's noticeable and at times obnoxious, it's not the underlying issue. The main problem is a very limited budget. Animators are professional artists, but weren't given enough time to make everything look right. Notice how the background environments look amazing, but when the human characters show up and start moving, it's a bit stiff. Additionally, there's an over-reliance on visual effects assets. Now, there's nothing wrong with the assets per se, as I've used many of them in the past, shameless plugin. Still, their high usage here indicates the animators being restricted to a limited timetable. So it doesn't matter how talented you are, if you are given a very little window to work with a certain project, like you gotta get this done in you need this done in like a week's time, you're gonna do everything you can to do your job. I think these filmmakers were able to deliver a brand spanking new kaiju Rock'em Sock'em series on a limited budget, which is a testament to their artistic skills. Oh, and whenever Gamera shows up, the animation peaks. Like, these kaiju fights are so exciting, they should serve as a template for future kaiju anime projects. Regarding the human element, the core cast of friends make for exciting protagonists. Using younger protagonists is a staple in the Gamera series. However, your mileage may vary depending on whether that's a good thing. I don't care if the characters are adults or children. I have a problem with the audience being treated like children, which could be the main reason why fans have a hard time taking some of these films seriously. I can understand why the cliffhanger might make some fans roll their eyes. Adults differing from children are a staple in the Gamera series for good or ill. All I can say is I think there's more happening here than meets the eye, though. Moreover, even though it could have been written better, I couldn't help but like how the US General cited giant monster movies as his main motivation for referring to Gamera and Gauss as kaiju. Come on, if we were in a similar position, we would have done the same thing. Speaking of kaiju, Wow, Gamera stole the show in every scene he was in. Can you steal the show if it has your name on it? I can't express how happy it makes me feel seeing Gamera again. I've missed him so much. I love Gamera's Rebirth design. It's perfect for the character. He looks like he's built to fight an army of evil kaiju while simultaneously showing the tenderness and care for humanity that makes Gamera unique in the kaiju pantheon. Gauss's role in this episode turned out to be particularly notable, more than I was expecting. Gauss has appeared in every subsequent Gamera series and is considered to be Gamera's arch nemesis. So it should come as no surprise to see the giant bat monster again. However, I'm amazed by how much I liked seeing Gauss again. I'm not overly fond of seeing kaiju making repeated appearances, to boost sales and such. Like, I'm not happy whenever King Ghidorah and Mothra show up in every Godzilla film, it seems like. So I thought it'd be a little derivative seeing Gauss once more. Luckily, those concerns never surfaced, and unlike most of its prior appearances, Gauss came across as genuinely terrifying. Overall, it was a solid first episode. The animation does take getting used to, but its flaws quickly evaporate when the kaiju clash. I'm enjoying the human characters thus far. I'm hoping they evolve as the story continues to develop. Mysteries abound in this new exciting Gamera series. Please tune in next time as I tackle the next episode in Gamera Rebirth. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. I'll destroy you all utterly later. Oh man, I'm so freaking happy Gamera's back. Oh man, it's Guardian of the Universe, guys. Yes, yes. Woo-hoo!